What's up, wrestling fans, and welcome back to episode number 28 of the Home Mat Advantage Fantasy Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Jacob Hughley, and I am joined again today by Earl and Jack, just like last episode, to break down this final duel of the first round of our NCAA champion duels. In this duel, you're going to hear the number 6 2017 team take on the number 11 2019 team. It's a extremely fun duel. I had a lot of fun doing it, bickering back and forth about some of these matches and really just having a good time. Really, really great duel. So listen in. I hope you have a good time and enjoy the show. All right. And welcome back to the next duel. We are going to get started with our final duel of the first round. The number 6 team in the land, 2017, versus the number 11 team, 2019. Pretty wild to me, at least, that the seedings came in this way, that 2019 was the number 11 out of 16. I think that's kind of crazy. But yeah, we'll get down to the bottom of it and see if the seeds hold true or if we get something different going on. But the way this duel is set up, the first thing that I have to point out to people is that obviously it was going to happen at some point, and it finally did. At 157 pounds, we have Jason Nolf wrestling himself. And so what we were going to do in the event of this happening was go to the runner-ups. So if you guys are cool with that, we can do that. We can also talk about Jason Nolf versus himself. It's whatever we want to do. This is our show. But my thought was to have the runner-ups wrestle off, and that would be Joey LaValle versus Tyler Berger. So I think that's kind of my vote. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Okay. I do have to point out, but before we do it, though, that I just got a really fun comment on Twitter about it. It's just perfect timing that it just came in. But it's the Blood Round RTC training program Twitter account commented on it and said, here at the BRRTC, we teach that every day is a battle with oneself. Should I have another hot wing? Is 5 beers too many for lunch? Do I need to go to bed today? Why do you deny Jason Nolf the opportunity to wrestle himself? So somebody really wanted
always
to
have another hot wing. Work it off in the morning. Come on.
Oh, absolutely. That's not even a question. There's definitely bonus points for the hot wings, even though they aren't for David Taylor sometimes. But yeah, I just commented back and put that although, I would love to see Jason Nolf wrestle himself in real life, it is not as much fun to talk about to a guy to wrestling himself, with what we're doing. So we're going to stick with the runner-ups, and I think that'd be more fun to talk about. What is the highlight match of this duel to you guys?
I think maybe 97.
That's what I was thinking too. Jaden Cox. Cox versus Bo Nickel. I think that's definitely a big one for me here. So let's start off at 285 pounds. So we have 2017 Kyle Snyder taking on 2019 Anthony Cassar. Go ahead and get us started with Kyle Snyder in 2017, Jack.
So he was second in 2015 after Gadsden wanted ice cream. And then he was first in 2016 when he beat Gwizdowski in the Garden in one of the best heavyweight matches of the ever. I can't think of a better one right now, in folk style at least. And then he was first in 2017, and this was the year he beat Connor Medbury in the finals. He lifted him up and spiked him. That was awesome. This was the year he was 17-0, so he was wrestling a little more folk style than the next year, because the next year I think is when or was it the year before where he was only 4 or 5-0 going into the Big Tens. He's wrestling freestyle. At this point, he had already won the Olympics and a world title. So Kyle Snyder, unreal, perennial talent for sure.
Yeah, and I remember that lift you're talking about. I remember sitting in the crowd, and when he lifted Medbury, that was a cool moment because everybody's kind of like, oh, like it was
Yeah.
kind of cool. Like everybody's like, "Oh my god, he's actually going to do this." It's like slow
Yeah.
motion, him picking up this giant man.
And he had banged up ribs at the time, I think, too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Hedberg was huge, man. Like absolutely huge. There's no way that guy wasn't cutting to 285.
Big guy. Big guy.
But on the other end of things, I got Anthony Cassar, and Anthony Cassar. Most people know his story, but this is, I don't even know what year to call this for Anthony Cassar, because at one point it was thought to be his last year, and then all of a sudden he had 2 more years, and then he decided not to get. I don't know. Is this like, what do we even call this Anthony Cassar? I think technically eligibility wise, it's probably sophomore Anthony Cassar because he had two
His
more
fourth
years.
year sophomore year.
Yeah.
His fourth year sophomore.
Eligibility wise, technically, this is second year Anthony Cassar, even though he had been at Penn State since it opened. So in his career at Penn State, he kind of couldn't punch through mid the lineup. He did have the year right before this where him and Shaq were kind of battling over 97, and Shaq ended up getting the call at the end of the things and went to the NCAA championships and AA. But we do forget that this was the year that Cassar beat number one Colin Moore in the duel, and so I think I don't know exactly how they made that decision to go with Shaq for NCAA's, but it could have went either way, and Cassar ended up getting the bench, and so he chose to kind of hit that cowboy bulk job kind of deal. Down at Oklahoma State, they like to build those guys up. Well, Cassar, I guess, saw that and wanted to do it himself, and did nothing but eat protein and lift for a whole year, and got up to heavyweight, where he kind of found a home his last year and was virtually unbeatable. He did lose one match. He lost to Derek White in the duel, I believe, but everybody was kind of discounting that matchup, and it was more of the Gable versus Cassar storyline the whole year. And Cassar was 2-0 against Gable when the dust settled. He beat him in the Big Ten finals, where he beat him and then told the crowd to hush that the champ was here. And then he beat him again in the NCAA semifinals. Before setting up a rematch with the only guy to beat him, Derek White, and he got the win there. And I would like to argue that he pinned him in that match. I don't know if you guys remember, but when he got that huge takedown right at the very beginning, and took him and slammed him down on his back, and I was sitting in the first row right there. It was incredible. It was the best seats ever. I don't know if I'll ever have seats like that again, but he slammed him down and held him there on his back for like multiple seconds. And I don't know, maybe it's the right call, but I think there definitely could have been a case for slapping the mat at one point, because he was on his back, man. But he ends up getting it done, winning a national title. One-time champion high school, one-time champion college, and he's moving on. Excited to watch him in MMA. So what do you guys see this match going like? Earl, what do you think?
Man, I mean, it's all Snyder. Having a guy like Cassar, his remarkable story, athletic, on his feet, not a true big full-sized heavy. I think Snyder would kind of pick him apart.
Yeah. I'll follow suit. I think
Yep.
Cassar is a lot like a Jacob Casper kind of build, and Snyder kind of picked him apart. So I'm arguing Snyder by major.
Yeah, I could be okay with that. I think I could go Snyder by major. I don't think it's close to Tech Fall territory, but I could get it with like an 8-9 point win.
Are we friends again, Jacob?
Until 125, we are friends. Until the next match, we are indeed buddies. But you might rethink that here in a minute. Not just kidding.
Careful what you say here.
Careful what I say. It's the internet. I can say whatever I want, and you can't find
what is that? You live in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, you don't know where.
Over again. I'll walk the streets.
All right. Well, at some point, I will eat my words, because if we're ever in the same room, I must have a match. But circling around to the top, 125 pounds, Darian Cruz versus Spencer Lee. I'll let Jack kick it off with Darian Cruz and sweat what I'm going to say about him.
Yeah, so Darian had a really interesting route to the finals. He beat Foz in the quarters, Gilman in the semis in a crazy semifinal overtime match, and then Lezak in the other final. His weight class was pretty broken. I was in it as well. I was on the other semi. I wrestled Lezak. This was the year that Suriano didn't say that he wasn't wrestling until like right before the tournament, so they didn't put in the alternate, and so he forfeited right away, which kind of gave Lezak a pretty nice ride to the semis. I mean, Darian Cruz was 7th back in 2014, so long ago, and yeah, I mean, really tough, really good on his feet, tricky. He was super tricky. The way that he took down Lezak was amazing, out of this world almost. The roll, and then he put him on his back kind of for a little bit and threatened it. Lezak bailed out, and that's how he won his title. But yeah, that's Darian.
All right. On the other end of things, for 2019, we have Spencer Lee. Spencer Lee came into this tournament as the 3 seed. He was the returning national champion, but he did take multiple losses to Sebastian Rivera this year, including one in the Big Ten finals, where that whole position and double for Sebastian. I don't know what you thought of it, Jack, but that was pretty cool, man. Like, that was when Lee kind of got in deep on a shot and Seabass like pulled him up and then reshot, right? I think that's what happened.
No, it was really cool. That's a lot of strength there.
Yeah. He literally like manhandled him. It was like, I couldn't believe that he did that. So that was pretty cool. But for this tournament, Spencer Lee goes through with a tech fall in round 1, major decision, and then a fall over Sean Russell, 11-4 win over Nick Piccinini, kind of putting that pin in the past, because this was also that year, wasn't it, that Pitch caught him in the cradle. So I think Spencer Lee had three losses this year, 2 to Sebastian Rivera, 1 to Nick Piccinini. But that's his route to the finals, where he will meet, dare I say, one of the best to ever do it, Jack Miller from UVA. But yeah, I already said it earlier. When I picked this bracket, I picked Rivera to make the finals, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised seeing Jack and his run. I love watching the ACC guys come in that people kind of discount for the schedule, because sometimes the ACC is getting way stronger, but there definitely are some weights and sometimes where people don't really hit a whole lot of big name guys.
Sure.
I don't remember exactly who all you wrestled that year, but I know that was what I was thinking was just I've seen Rivera beat Spencer Lee, and with Bresser and you, I didn't know what we were getting. But Jack fall round 1, made a decision round 2, and then beats Bresser in tiebreakers 4-1. And then everyone remembers that one in the semifinals, 5.5 minutes of riding time over Sebastian Rivera, makes his way to the finals. And that was a really, really cool final, man. I really enjoyed watching it. I think that, obviously, like you've talked about it before, I think I would have liked to see you wrestle a little bit more free. You've said that, maybe kind of getting it in your head a little bit, the match and in the situation. But I think that it was a really good match, and it was way closer than what I was thinking. And then a lot of people were thinking. And again, I wasn't, crazy, huge, following your career. So I didn't really know what I was going to get, but that was a pleasant match to watch. Spencer Lee, though, 2-time national champion at this point, and two really good finals wins, man. I think people do discount that too. And I'm not going to rip on Jack, but
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, people do kind of forget that too. Like sometimes when people have a lot of national titles, they think all these amazing things about him, but they fail to see who they wrestled in the finals or this or that. Spencer Lee has beaten Nick Suriano and Jack, so two really good wins in the finals, as well as his career that he's had. So Spencer Lee versus Darian Cruz. I think it's easy on my point. It really is. I liked watching Darian wrestle, and looking back at the tournament and all that kind of stuff. I honestly think I'm not just saying this because you're here with us, man, but like I really do think if Jack doesn't get hurt, that he's in that finals and possibly winning that title that year. So I'm going to pick Spencer Lee, and I'm going to pick Spencer Lee by major decision because there's not a whole lot of people that he doesn't at least get a major over. So I got a major decision for Spencer Lee.
I'll go next. I think it's Spencer. I don't know. I don't think it's major. I think it's close. I would pick Darian over Piccinini. I think maybe a different year, Spencer. But even then, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't pick major. No major. But Spencer for sure in a pretty dominant win.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting to think about this for me too, and I don't know how much it even comes into play for this, but when I think, Darian Cruz obviously took out Thomas Gilman. What do you guys think would happen if this were a Thomas Gilman versus Spencer Lee matchup in those years?
I would have Spencer. I
I
think it'd still be just as easy as a pick.
Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I could be getting close to bonus territory for that one too. I think Gilman was crazy good, but dude, those turns, man, and I've seen Gilman get turned before.
Yeah, by Lezak.
Yeah. But Earl, you got Spencer as well?
I got Spencer. I think Cruz may be able to sneak in a takedown somewhere. So I think he would make it, closer than a major.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if this comes down to the end and we're tied again, then you guys made the wrong decision.
It's gonna be tied right now because didn't we choose Snyder for a major?
Oh, we did. Thank you. All right. So
signing bonus somewhere else though.
Anyway, we'll get going on to 133 pounds, where we got Corey Clark of Iowa versus Nick Suriano. And we'll get started with Nick Suriano. I'll tell you a little bit about him and up to this point in his career. This is his junior year. Before this, he, as Jack said before, in 2017, had to kind of pull out of the tournament at the last second. And, as much as like his name is tied to that, I think that was definitely a Kale thing and not a Suriano thing. As far as him, like the last second mind games pulling him out. I think that Suriano wanted to go, but they kind of knew that he wasn't going, well before they announced it. And so he didn't get a shot at that, but I think he easily could have been in the finals that year. And his sophomore season, he ran into Spencer Lee in the finals. He kind of was untouchable himself until hitting Spencer Lee, and then, loses a 5-1 match. That was a really good match. That crazy, awesome scramble, man, where Nick Suriano about had him and was trying to like throw the leg in, and Lee catches the leg and goes back around the other side. That was a really cool kind of iconic memory for me from that match. But then Suriano the following year bumps up to 133 pounds in possibly the the craziest NCAA bracket in recent memory, and wins the darn thing. So he goes through, off the top of my head, I'm going to make sure, but I know he beats Stefan Micic in the semifinals and takes out Dayton Fix in the finals. And also in that tournament, he did pin Ethan Lezak. So pinned Ethan Lezak, beat Stefan Micic, and then, controversial win in the finals. There definitely was a headgear pull. Absolutely. But I don't know. I was still pulling for him. I'm glad he got it done. So Spencer Lee wins there. But 133 pounds for 2017 is Corey Clark. Jack, tell us about Corey Clark.
So this was Corey Clark's senior year. He was a 4-time All-American at this point. He was a 2-time runner-up, and then he was 5th in 2014 when he was back at 125. His route to win it was Connor Schramm, Pat D'Arcy, Stevan Micic, Nathan Tomasello, and then Seth Gross. So went through some hammers for sure. Corey Clark has always been a solid guy, solid all around. Not much else to say. I think that he's just someone that fits the Iowa profile very well. I think that's Corey Clark, though.
You did forget one big thing about Corey Clark that nobody else has, and that is a throw on Tom Brands. Or was it Terry?
Oh, yeah,
Either Tom or Terry. I don't remember which one, but when he won his national title, just absolutely bombing his coach. That was so cool. I loved that celebration. I don't know if there's ever going to be a celebration cooler than that for me. But Earl, what do you think?
Man, I think I have to go with Suriano. Just that bracket that he prevailed in, that was just ridiculous, and I don't know, kind of similar physical guys. I think just Suriano's a little better.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Suriano as well. I think that there's only a few guys that can beat Nick Suriano.
Yeah, I agree. We're all on the Suriano train. I love Clark, but I think that it's just super hard to score on Suriano and just a little bit more athleticism. And I think they were both really great brackets and hard paths to the finals. But Suriano's bracket, man, really was one of the hardest of all time. And so moving on to 141 pounds, where we're going to have Dean Heil versus Yanni Diakomihalis. Start us off with Dean Heil, Jack.
So he was fourth in 2015 when he was the 14 seed. And then he was the champ in 2016 and the champ in 2017, where he beat his route to win it was Brock Zackrell in the first round, Jared Prince in the second round, Jaden Ironman in the quarters, Anthony Ashnault in the semis, George C. Camillo in the finals. This weight was very tough. Jimmy Golubon was in it, unseeded. Joey McKenna, Kevin Jack, Joey Ward, even Josh Heil, who's on the come up now. Luke Pletcher was in it. Colton McChrystal. I mean, the weight was stacked. Brock Zackrell, like I mentioned earlier, Bryce Meredith, Ronnie Perry was in it. I mean, the weight class was really, really tough, really loaded. And, Dean didn't get a major or bonus points throughout the tournament and only won one match that was more than like a 3-point victory. So pretty impressive. He could keep it close and win.
Yeah, and then on the other end of things, we got a guy that's still on his quest for 4, Yanni Diakomihalis, and this bracket as well was a pretty stacked one. There's just loads of names in this bracket I'll get to in a second, but just Yanni's path to the finals was incredible. I know this was his second national title, so he already had that incredible run as a freshman where he beat Dean Heil and as well as Jay Nyerman and Bryce Meredith. But in his sophomore campaign, he's the 1 seed, and in the very first round, he has Pete Lapari from Rutgers, which is a pretty good guy to start off with. And then he beats Chad Redd, Dom Demas, Jaden Ironman, and then Joey McKenna in sudden victory in the finals. So that's a run, man. I mean, Redd, Demas, Ironman, McKenna is incredible, thinking that a 1 seed had to go through that. I mean, that's pretty stacked lineup there. I remember the finals obviously was kind of we keep getting controversial finals, man. But I think that at the end of the day, the wrong was righted. I can't remember what order everything went in, but I remember one takedown that was given to Yanni, I think shouldn't have been, and then the one that
brought him into overtime.
Yeah, but it was like I can't remember exactly how it went. I think they didn't give him one that I thought he definitely should have had. And then they turned around and did the other thing. They gave him one that I thought he shouldn't have got. And so in my mind, at least, I think the wrong was kind of righted where, they cheated him on one and then kind of gave it back. But at the end of the day, Yanni walked off the mat as a 2-time national champion over Joey McKenna. So some dudes in that bracket were Kyle Shoup, Josh Alber, Jay Nyerman, we said, Kanan Storr, Dom Demas, Chad Redd, Mikey Carr, Max Murin, Sedarian Perry, Nick Lee, Mitch McKee, Cade Brock. I mean, wow. Like, we talk about that 133 bracket, but there's some names in this one, man.
Yeah. I like the 2017 bracket a little more. I think it's a little tougher.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. But with that being said, I mean, it's Yanni here.
Yeah.
With danger, it's Yanni. Without danger, I think there's an argument to be made for Dean. I mean, the dude was unstoppable for 2 years.
I will never in my life vote for Dean Heil, ever. I'm sorry. It just can't happen. And I'm sorry if he ever hears this, but man, I'm not a fan. Okay. I'm sorry. There's you guys probably have people too, but there's certain people just under your skin and like, dude, I can't ever vote for him ever in my life. All right. The guy.
2 people before that I voted for. Get under my skin.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, well, I can't ever because I mean, so obviously I'm an Iowa guy. I'm an Iowa fan for sure. But in my coaching career, I'm definitely more of that kind of Penn State mentality of, continuously trying to score. And that's what I really try to preach to my guys is like, don't worry about what the score is, just really continuously trying to score. And if I have a guy stalling, to me, it's almost as bad as a loss. I can't stand it. And I think Dean Heil really was that guy that got up by a point or two and then just like hung on and, and that danger rule, like you said, was made for him. And I couldn't stand it. And I think that both Meredith and DiCamillo should have won those matches. And I'm so irritated. And I don't know. I'll shut up before I say something that I don't want to say.
No, I feel the same way. I mean, yeah, like George was like a mentor to me, so it's frustrating. But I think that like he was good at what he did, and he was the best at what he did, obviously, because he won twice.
For sure.
And he figured it out, and I mean, it wasn't a cool way to win. No one liked it, but I mean, very disciplined, very impressive. I think without danger, it's Dean Heil in this match for me.
Oh.
And I don't know what we're doing.
No, I think we'll go no danger just because there is one team that didn't have it. I think it's more fair to do that. But yeah, I think no danger here. So you're going to go Dean Heil?
I'm going Dean Heil.
Oh my God. Dude can't wear his headgear right.
That's fair. I mean, yeah.
He couldn't win the battle against his headgear, and you think he's going to
beat?
No
one really wins that battle, though.
Oh,
that
people. Yeah, but nobody has their headgear continuously falling into their eyes in the national finals.
I'm so happy I never have to go through that again. I'm so happy.
Whatever. All right. Well, Earl, what are you thinking here?
Oh man. Yeah, it's I don't know. Even still with danger, I just feel like Yanni would be able to adapt. They're both incredibly hard to score on for their own reasons. But yeah, I think Yanni adapts and he wins here.
Suck it, Jack.
See, we're not colluding.
No collusion. I will retract that statement. But cool. Yanni gets the win. All is right in the world, even though Jack tried to mess up my morning. No, it's not 19. What is it? 9. But we'll go ahead and move on. 149 pounds, Zane Rutherford versus Anthony Ashnault. Start us off with Zane, Jack.
You go first. I'm eating something real quick.
Me go first. All right. So, Heil can't win the headgear battle, and Jack can't chew, apparently, or can't talk while he chews. But
do you want to hear while I'm chewing?
No, shut it off. Anthony Ashnault, at this point in his career, he's a senior. He becomes a 4-time All-American. And I think he really did kind of take a step up this year. He was always a guy. I mean, he was a 4-time AA, so he was always the guy right there in the conversation, but just right kind of on the outside. I really do think he took a step. Like, I think that he saw what was in front of him this year and saw, how the landscape was going to look, and knew that he could be the guy, and really put in the extra work and got there. And so on his tournament run, he beats Malik Amin, Christian Jeffries, Jarrett Dagan, Matthew Kolodzik in the semifinals, and then Micah Jordan in the finals. 9-4 over Micah Jordan in the finals, 5-point win there. But when I remember back to this year, I think that the moment I knew where this guy was going to win is when him and Kolodzik hit. And I believe it was in the rack. But that was an awesome match. And I don't know if you guys remember that, but Ashnault Kolodzik comes in as the number 1 guy, and Ashnault was the number 2 guy. And I don't remember which Princeton coach it was. It might have been Dubuque or I don't remember which guy it was, but one of those guys had kind of like said on an interview or on Twitter or something.
It was the head coach.
The head coach. Okay. Said that Ashnault wasn't going to score a point on him, right? He wasn't going to score a point on Kolodzik. Kolodzik was going to win the match. And that definitely fueled the fire for Ashnault, because he wins, and I can't remember what the score was. I want to say it was like 8-0 or 8-1 or something like that. And in the final seconds, Ashnault's on top, and he looks over at the Princeton coaching staff, and he like counted at them and like held it up as he's on top of Kolodzik. It was so awesome.
That was the same year that he did the poo-poo to Oklahoma State guys.
Oh, dude. I loved watching him this year, man. He was just so much fun. Yeah. He was a must watch TV every time he got on the mat.
Absolutely.
But there's also some other good dudes in this bracket. Mitch Fine Silver, Austin O'Connor. You said Joshua Heil was good. Pat Lugo, Max Thompson. Bunch of really, really good dudes. Brock Mahler. And that's it. I'll shut up. Anthony Ashnault, national champ, 2019.
So Zane, 2017. I mean, I think this was the year that he literally bonused every single person. I mean, his NCAA tournament was Tech, Penn, Tech. I don't even know, like, who in their right mind does that to anyone. His second national title, and his first year he was 5th, but he had a win over Stieber. I mean, for me in this match, it's Zane by bonus. I think it's a Tech.
Yeah. Man, really?
Yeah. Would you pick Brandon Sorensen over Anthony Ashnault?
I don't know, man.
Brandon Sorensen.
He's got to have matches with those guys, does he not? He's got to have a match somewhere.
No, because Anthony Ashnault was at 41 for most of his career.
I don't know, man. Like, senior Ashnault, I might pick senior Ashnault over Sorensen. Do y'all think I'm crazy for that?
Oh, I thought you were about to say junior Zane. I was about to.
No, but over Sorensen.
I don't think you're crazy for that at all. I think that would be a very close match. But Zane dominated him.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't want to go bonus. I really don't, because I think that Ashnault could hang around enough and scrape by a decision. So screw it. I'm going to go decision. I'm going to go Zane by decision, because obviously I think that it's more in favor of Zane getting bonus, but I think that Ashnault could hang on in this specific year. I think that he was really good this year, and I don't see many people being able to bonus him. So I'll go Zane winning by like 6 points or something.
I don't think many people either. I just think that junior Zane will bonus everyone.
just like David Taylor senior year would bonus everybody.
No. No.
Did I remind you that there has never been a
No.
wrestler in college history to have a 100% bonus rate through the year? So even Junior Zane did not bonus everyone.
Is 2017 on WrestleStat? Can I
Yeah.
Find Zane
is.
on WrestleStat?
Yeah,
Let's see who he.
I think he had a tough match with Anthony Colica, and was this a duel where he went to tiebreakers with Sorensen? Was this a year?
I think so, because I think it was the year that he hit him in the finals.
No, this wasn't the year he went in the finals. This was the year that he pinned him in the first period in the semis.
Yeah. What do you got, Earl?
And so I agree with everything you said about Ashnault, getting better. And I feel like he was kind of on a level almost by himself. He rarely had close matches this year. Really impressed me. Loved to watch him. Loved what he brought to that program. But I'll go with Major for Zane.
All right. Major for Zane Rutherford. I definitely can't be upset with that one, because if you're upset with somebody saying that Zane Major is someone, then you're not a wrestling fan. You don't follow this enough.
Yeah.
You have no wrestling integrity.
You have no wrestling integrity whatsoever.
No wrestling integrity.
Upset about it. Not if you picked against it. You still have your integrity, but if you're upset about it, that's where I draw the line. But Zane moves on with a major decision. Actually, we'll give them 8 points. But 157 pounds, this is where we're getting into the fun part of the duel, where we actually have Jason Nolf wrestling himself. But as we said before, we're not going to sit here and talk, nitpick years of Jason Nolf, because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's just the craziest thing to talk about. And I don't know how we actually get to a winner. So what we have chosen to do in this case is to talk about the runner-ups versus each other. And so in 2017, the runner-up to Jason Nolf was Joey LaValle. And in 2019, it was Tyler Berger. And so I'll go ahead and kick it to Jack. Tell us about Joey LaValle in 2017.
So he was the 3 seed going into the tournament. He only had 1 loss on the year. And this was the year that Kimmer was the 2, but he got upset by Palacio. So LaValle beat Sal Mastriani in the second round, Paul Fox, a kid from Stanford who ended up All-Americaning in the quarters, and then Dylan Palacio in the semis.
All right. For Tyler Berger, this kind of famously was the year that Berger said that he was going to beat Nolf. I don't remember the exact words, but he kind of went on Twitter and waged war and said that he was going to take him out and all this kind of stuff. And, like, I don't know. I mean, for him, obviously he believed it in his head, but everyone else in the world, I think it was a laughable moment because he was not going to beat Jason Nolf. I'm sorry. But he was the 2 seed. He did have a tech fall in the first round, a pin in the second round, 5-2 over Larry Early, and then 5-3 over Caleb Young in the semifinals, setting up the match that he wanted in the finals, where Nolf, I think, throughout his career was kind of a guy that he beat on people and absolutely destroyed some guys. But sorry, my wife's yelling upstairs. I don't know if she's yelling for me. He looked like it was a different guy in the finals is what I'm trying to get to. Sorry, I'm getting distracted, but he came out there with a little extra chip on his shoulder and just blew up Tyler Berger. I got to run real quick because I think something's going on upstairs, but you guys take this away for me. I'm voting for Tyler Berger.
Yeah. You want to go first, Earl?
Yeah, man. I think, LaValle didn't have that many losses. I think he said he had 1 loss heading into the tournament. Missouri didn't always wrestle the strongest schedule, but I don't know. I think that this version of Tyler Berger was much better than LaValle's 3-time All-American. I don't see Berger losing to really anybody else but Nolf. Maybe there's 1 or 2 guys that I can't remember, but yeah, I'm going Berger.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I think that Berger would be a national champ in a different year. He kind of jumped levels in between the times that they went to their duel, where I think Nolf majored him or was close to majoring him, and then he had a chip on his shoulder. I think it was really really awesome to see him just kind of go after a guy like Jason Nolf, someone that like he started Nolf next topic, and Berger didn't make him afraid. He just went after it. I think that's inspirational, and you know, I gotta go Berger for sure.
Awesome. Earl, did you vote?
Yeah, he went Berger.
Yeah, I went Berger.
Cool. So we all got Berger. Awesome. Sorry about that. My wife is up there yelling. I think she's yelling at the dog, but I swore I heard my name. And when, I don't know, I guess Earl understands, if your wife yells your name across the house, like I immediately go into like 5-year-old, my mom yelling at me, like, what did I do? Oh my God. So
Sure.
I had to run up there and make sure that all was right in the world. But it is all good. So we have a 12-8 lead for 2019 heading into the 165-pound match, where we have actually seen this match in an NCAA final. 165 pounds, Vincenzo Joseph in 2017 versus Mekhi Lewis in 2019. And so I will go ahead and kick it off with Mekhi. Mekhi in 2019, as we obviously said, is the national champion. He beat Vincenzo in the finals 7-1. But Mekhi, I think the kind of storyline for this tournament was Vincenzo and Marinelli and wanting to see them meet up. And then I think the kind of like secondary storyline was Marinelli's insane path, right? And so this guy got Joe Smith in the first round, Thomas Bullard, and then hit Mekhi Lewis in the quarters. Where Mekhi Lewis, like we talked about earlier, and I've said about, the ACCs, like, there's a bunch of really good dudes, but there definitely are some weight classes some years where, they might not have as tough of a schedule. And so Mekhi had a loss this year. He had 2 losses. He was 28-2. But, people knew he was good, but he was the 8 seed and didn't really expect too much from him. Knew he was I believe a junior world champ. But, again, just, 28-2, not any crazy good wins on his resume. And so, it wasn't much of a thought until he hit Marinelli in the quarters and beat him 3-1. Just an amazing match. I mean, not for me. I was on the verge of tears because I love Marinelli, but it was a really good match. And man, just Mekhi is just amazing, man. Just the balance that he has, and just, I don't know. There was something about him that was really cool that match, and I was like, wow, okay, this guy's real. And then in the semifinals, again, I thought Wick was going to win. I thought for sure Wick was, because he was kind of the third guy the whole year. But again, Mekhi 5-2, and then in the finals he locks up a cradle on Vincenzo, and wins 7-1. And I think what's interesting about that too is that I heard an interview with Mekhi where he talked about that cradle, and he said that Marinelli did kind of a similar thing where when he stood up, he put his head near his knee every time he stood up. And he said when he got to Vincenzo, he knew that he did kind of the same thing. And so he said that he saw it happen like the first time they were in that position. He saw him kind of stand up like that. And then I believe it was the second time that he knew it was going to happen. And so he just went right for it, and ended up getting it and taking it over. But yeah, Mekhi Lewis, a 7-1 decision over 2-time national champion Vincenzo Joseph for the win. And what about Vincenzo in 2017, Jack?
So this was Chenzo's freshman year, I think, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was. Let me check real quick. Yeah, this was his freshman year. He was 22-4 on the season. He beat Daniel Lewis in the quarters, Logan Massa in the semis, and then Aymar in the finals. And that's pretty hard route in itself. I mean, when I think of Chenzo, I think that his first 2 years were better than his next 2. But like he's just a guy that kind of always surprised people at nationals. I think even when he was the returning national champ, just showed up under the lights. Great inside trip, obviously, and just had Imar's number for sure.
Yeah. I think it's cool, and we talked about in the past how like heavyweight kind of had that curse of like winning 2 and then getting knocked off. Well, the same thing happens at 65. I think kind of over the last couple of years, we had Imar win 2 on the quest for 4, and then gets knocked off by Vincenzo. Same thing happens to Vincenzo winning 2 and then getting knocked off. And I think in both of those situations, it was really a matchup deal for me. I think Vincenzo with that, Imar wanting to go underhooks, doing that overhook inside trip really was a matchup problem for Imar. And then I really do believe that Mackay is a matchup issue for Vincenzo. And so, not just because of the match that we saw, but I don't think that's a thing where Vincenzo wins the majority of the matches. I think Mackay might win the majority of the matches. And so I'm going to pick Mackay. What about you, Earl?
Yeah, I think I'm with you as well. That I think that Vincenzo was actually pretty similar to his freshman year this year as a junior in 2019. At least pretty comparable. He did have that bad matchup as far as Imar goes. But I think Lewis is a bad matchup for him. I could see if they would have hit, for instance, this year or something like that, I could have seen Lewis getting the win again. So it's hard to unsee that.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be Mackay.
Yeah, for sure. I remember from that finals match, man, him being up on that one leg and Joseph just not being able to finish. Like, absolutely could not finish. Just incredible balance. And what was it that he did when they finally went out of bounds and reset? Mackay did something that was kind of like it was almost like a calm down or like some kind of little gesture that he did it was kind of cool. But just kind of showing that like he was comfortable in that position and wasn't really worried about it too much. But Mackay Lewis taking the win for 2019, and we'll go down to 174 pounds, where we're going to see yet another matchup that we've seen in the finals. This is Mark Hall, 2017 Mark Hall specifically, against 2019 Zahid Valencia. For Zahid at this point, this is his junior year. It's his second NCAA title. He, as a freshman, lost in the semifinals to Mark Hall, or I think it was the quarterfinals, wasn't it? It was either the quarters or the semis to Mark Hall, and another kind of headgear pull matchup where that kind of ended up deciding the match. But he battles back and takes third as a freshman, his only loss being to Mark Hall. His sophomore season, I believe, is the season he went undefeated, beating Mark Hall in the finals. And then his junior season, he did take 2 losses during the season, one to Mark Hall and the other to Daniel Lewis getting pinned. But he righted all of his wrongs when he came into the NCAA tournament and tore through it. He was the 3 seed who had a major in the first he had a major fall, and then decision over Mark Hall in the finals, and just very, very high level of dominance. And with everything that happened with COVID and Valencia's situation, obviously Spencer Lee won the Hodge, but I think that it was very clearly Zahid's Hodge up until a certain point. So there is that. Tell us about Mark Hall, Jack.
Yeah, so this was true freshman Mark Hall. His red shirt got pulled after the Southern Scuffle this year. He went through Zach Epperly, and then Zahid in the semis, and then Bo Jordan in the finals, avenging a few losses on the way. This was Zahid's only loss on the season. He ended up going on the backside and majoring Miles Amin for third. Bo Jordan was also had a tough route, beating Brian Real Budo in the semis. This was also another infamous headgear pull, which ended up making Mark win. But yeah, this was one of 2 times that Mark beat Zahid. He beat him in the duel as well. So yeah, that's Mark Hall.
Yeah. I think for me, it's very clearly Zahid Valencia. And I say that obviously because Zahid kind of controlled the wins in the rivalry. I believe it was 4-2 maybe, or something like that. But, Hall did get the win in Rec Hall that last year, or that they're this year technically, but Zahid ended up riding the wrong later in the year. And in that freshman year when they met and when Mark Hall won, I think if it weren't for that headgear pull, I think Zahid's a 3-time champ. I think that he would have won the match if you take that headgear pull out of there, and I think that he definitely would have beaten Bo Jordan in the finals. And so I think it's almost a rivalry like Hendricks and Perry to me, where it was obviously a big rivalry, but one guy kind of really controlled the rivalry and really won the majority of the matches, even though they were close every time. So I'm going to go Zahid Valencia. What about you, Jack?
I want to go Zahid really badly, but I feel like freshman Mark Hall might have been the best version of himself. Like, I think he was better as a freshman. I think that this is a lot harder than just saying, yeah, Zahid beat him way more after this. But I think that for me, it's Mark Hall, and it's a freshman Mark Hall. I don't know. I think that this was easily his best self, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, I'm going to go Mark.
All right, Earl.
All right, so it might have been the best Mark, but I think Zahid was different, and he got much better once he got to 2019. And, Hall did kind of put it on him in Rec Hall, but, Zahid came back and.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I got to go with Zahid.
I think that's like it definitely seems like it could be Zahid, but I don't know. For some reason, I think that Mark there was just something different about him after his first year. I don't know. I don't want to bash him at all. He was obviously one of the best wrestlers of this decade, and he was unreal every year. But it just seemed like from the outside, I always kind of rooted for Mark.
Who do you think would have won the title this year, Hall or Kimmer?
I think Mark Hall would have won. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
But I mean, I would root for him. Like I knew him, so I root for him.
Yeah. What about you, Earl? Who would you have had in that?
Yeah, well, I think I picked Hall in the Big Ten. I probably still would have picked him. NCAAs.
Yeah, I think so. But Zahid with the win. Moving on, 184 pounds, Bo Nickel of Penn State versus Drew Foster of Northern Iowa, UNI. So I'll go first. Drew Foster in 2019 won a national title after a whole lot of stuff happened in this tournament that kind of set up his Cinderella run. The first one obviously being Miles Martin on the other side getting upset by Max Dean. And I believe, I don't have it pulled up, but I believe that Martin and Foster met this year, and Martin would have obviously had the win. But Drew Foster coming out of the 60 at 28-5, he beats Ludapre, and then Zach Zavatsky and Chip Ness on his way to the finals before beating Max Dean 6-4. Max Dean did beat Foster earlier in the year, but Foster ended up getting the last laugh at the NCAA tournament. I really do think this was a really good run as well because, Lou Dupre, I think, was in the title hunt this year for sure. Zach Zavatsky was always one of the top guys. He was the 3 seed. And then Chip Ness in the semifinals, man, like definitely the Mr. March of the last couple of years. Like the dude was the 15 seed, shows up and takes out the 2 seed and the 10 seed on his way to the semifinals.
Yeah, but Shakur was pretty hurt. Like I feel like there was kind of an asterisk there.
Yeah, and this was also the year that Shakur didn't wrestle the Big Ten finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, Foster had a really good run, man. Had a good year, and we'll look across the mat to see Bo Nickel though. So Bo Nickel in 2017 is doing what, Jack?
Yeah. So he's a sophomore. He was a second. He was second in 2016 after that crazy match with Miles. This year he went Tech, Penn, and then decision over Gabe Dean in the finals. He had one loss on the year. I don't know who that was to. Probably Gabe in the scuffle or something.
He lost to Miles in the Big Ten semis.
Really? I can't even find Miles on the year. Oh, he got upset by Emory Parker in the second round. I mean, for me, it's Bo, and it's Bo by Penn. I mean, you can't just go Bo by major. It's either Bo by 10 or Bo by Tech or Bo by Penn. He doesn't get majors, I feel like.
He didn't get a whole lot of techs either. So yeah, I think it might be Penn. Yeah. Crap. I think I'm comfortable saying it too. I'm gonna go Bo Penn. How about you, Earl?
I mean, yeah, well, it's hard to argue with that. I didn't necessarily, think that. I thought it was clearly him, but you put it that way. It makes a lot of sense to me. I'm good with it.
All right. Well, Bo Nickel.
It's 6-3, but
Penn. So that's gonna be
pretty close
to 18 now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming down to the last match, 14-18 in favor of 2019. We might get yet another upset. But the last match of the duel, Jaden Cox of Missouri versus Bo Nickel of Penn State. This is Bo Nickel's senior season. This is his Hodgewang season. He absolutely blew through everybody standing in his way, including a pin over Colin Moore in the duel. And then in the national finals, he also beat Colin Moore. The score being 5-1. So 5-1 in the national finals after he had pinned him earlier. And I think if you're asking me, I think that he's better than 5-1 over Colin Moore right there. I think that might have been a little bit of, senior last match, big stage, kind of taking it in a little bit and maybe not just going balls to the wall, but maybe enjoying his final moments in a Penn State singlet.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but that tournament, I mean, fall, major decision, fall, and then 5-1. And so we all know Bo's stats, and this is, Hodge winning season, undefeated. So on the other end, Jaden Cox.
Yeah, so this was Jaden's senior season. This was his third national championship as well. I mean, he went fall, major, and then decision, but it was 6-2, 8-2. So, I mean, he was untouchable this year. No one really came close. I think Jaden's best known for his defense. Yeah, I mean, he won over Brett Favre in the finals and Jared Hott in the semis. Just a real joy to watch. Kind of on and off the mat, He's just a really, really good person.
For
really
sure.
Good person.
What are you thinking about this one, Earl?
Another one. It can't count for these purposes, but just what you watched at Final X between these two. I just don't see how Bo can score against him. It sounds really simple, but that's just what it comes down to. I have to take Jaden, and I don't know what Bo does.
I don't know, man. All right, we're going to disagree. I'm going to go Bo Nickel, and the reasoning for me here is I 100% agree, and I think at this point in life and forever on, I don't see Bo Nickel ever touching Jaden Cox. I don't. But trying to keep in mind that these are both senior years of themselves in college, I think that Jaden jumped leaps and bounds after college. Like the Jaden that we have right now was not the Jaden that we had in college. He's incredible. He's the best guy in the world, if you ask me. But again, at this point in their college careers, I'm going to favor offense over defense. And I think even at this point, Jaden had one of the best defensive games in the world. But Bo was just on a roll this senior season. I don't see anybody getting in his way. And obviously it would be different having Jaden Cox there, but college forms of both of these guys, I see Bo, man. I really see it.
He already made it through the Olympics without giving up a takedown at this point.
I don't care.
He got
third, though.
Okay, so y'all are going to leave it down to me.
He got third, though. He lost. I mean, maybe not giving up a takedown, but he did lose in the Olympics.
So, I'm a Texas boy, and Bo Nickel, I grew up watching him. We were on the same Team Texas teams. The dude was unreal. Obviously, y'all have seen him. There would be some matches where he would just go in and just pin the guy, and he would be number one or number two guy in the country. It would be like Kimball Bastion when he was a stud out of Utah, or just anyone, Mark Hall even, he would he rose to the occasion. He always shined under the lights, and unbelievable college career. I think out of those Penn State guys, Bo Nickel might be the best in this decade. I think that would be an interesting topic to go over. Zane probably has him by a little bit, but I think after that it's Bo, and then after that it's David Taylor. But I'm going Jaden Cox. He had a bronze medal in the Olympics at this point. He was so good. The dude didn't lose. He didn't get taken down. Yeah. He didn't lose. Jaden Cox.
He had a bronze medal in the Olympics, yet he only had a decision over Farr and was the dude before you said Hot, right?
Yeah. But he's not known for his offense as much as he is for his defense.
Whatever.
A 6'2", 8'2" can be just as dominant as a tech ball sometimes.
I say Jaden by Tech for the win.
I'll go Tech too.
I swear to God. Oh my. Those are jokes, correct? Because
yeah.
Okay. All right. Man.
No, this is for sure a decision. It's for sure 1 or 2 points.
For Bo Nickel, I got it.
No.
Dude, come on.
Did I have you for a little bit?
A little bit.
I was gonna go Bo.
No, I don't know. But dude, Jaden, it was a regular decision for both those matches. Bo Nickel pinned the number 2 guy in the country, the clear-cut number 2 guy in the country.
It's just how you wrestle. It's not that he wasn't good enough to score the points. It's just how he wrestles. He doesn't score a ton of points. He wins those close matches. And I get how people can't get behind that. But when you see a guy get on Jaden Cox's legs, it is like a masterpiece. It's like Michelangelo painting, or something like that, or Tony Hawk skateboarding. There's just no one better at it. You can't score on him. It's amazing to watch every second of someone in on Jaden Cox's legs. The defense is unmatched.
Whatever.
This match would be sweet, though.
I was outvoted, but just so you know, my vote was Bo Nickel pin. So.
Oh my God.
No. What?
Hey, you said it. He's a pinner.
Hey, 2 upsets today. It's a good day.
That's definitely a good day. So 18-17, 2 upsets and 2 1-point upsets. 18 to 17, 2019 moves on. So we will have in the next round, we will have the number 14 versus the number 11 seed. So pretty cool when the bracket doesn't hold. I think it's definitely way more fun to watch brackets that they get busted up a little bit. But that is it for us. Thank you for listening. We had a great time with this, and we will continue to have a great time with this. So tune back in for the quarterfinals when they start at the beginning of next week. We will hear from you next time. Thanks, Earl. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.